Thank you very much, Pastor Joras, for finding that and sharing it. And again, apologies that we were unable to get Alex to do this. Sometimes it's difficult to go over through the Word document, but it is the same document that was used with Alex to prepare the slides. What is missing here that Alex was going to look for is what defines us as a family mountain in terms of what are we or who we are. And of course, as you may recall, we put together what our mission was and then the objectives. And through the discussions of the objectives, that's when we said, what did we need to do? And there were a couple of discussions back and forth, as you recall, and as this document will highlight, in terms of the issues that came out as being pertinent in terms of affecting the family mountain and how we would like to have those discussed. So in this short intro, I think what we did identify in the course of discussing was that parenting came out to be the most salient issue to be discussed and to be followed through, to be addressed on the family mountain. And we developed a concept together. We discussed through that concept, we developed it together, we brainstormed over between what kind of interviews or data collection methodologies that we'll be able to use. If you recall, we said, can we go for IRB? We said, no, this is going to be without an IRB. And we agreed that we collect the data from a wide range of people, including the parents, the caretakers, school teachers, those who are taking charge of children, and the experts in parenting and institutions that are focusing on parenting. And of course, in all this, our chair was the contact person. And then there were 5 critical issues, 4, I think we narrowed them up to 4. The problems and the challenges that we are facing, parenting, the causes of poor parenting, because poor parenting came up as one of the key things, as was in the table, and the effects, maybe the consequences of what was the poor parenting. And we tried to find out from the teams or from the people we approached, which district will be the most appropriate districts for us to do this work. And we did propose how the problem of parenting could be addressed and what could be undertaken to deal with it. And actually, that's the 5th question in addition to the 4. We also asked about advice on the stakeholders, and we see a list of stakeholders, some of whom we've approached. So in the overall, we did agree that we start home. If you recall from that brainstorming, and Kampala was home for most people, although we also said people who are living in upcountry areas can collect the data from elsewhere. So we identified key opportunities and challenges in the process of that data that we collected. And the opportunities were that out there were a lot of people that were like-minded, a lot of people, a lot of stakeholders whom would share the same values, and they could be able to talk about the same thing in the same direction. However, there were a couple of challenges, which included absentee parents, lack of parenting training, globalization, poverty, broken marriages, to list a few of them. But these formed the areas that we are going to intervene in, or the areas that we started to intervene in. We proposed responses And among the responses, again, we just listed a few that we thought were critical, which included holding seminars, conferences, classes, groups about parenting through the media, focusing on parenting campaigns, looking at advocacy, and mentoring the youth in addition to improving family livelihood. So in so doing, we said for us to be able to be very responsive, this work cannot be done in isolation. It has to be done with other stakeholders, because there are other groups that are handling this. And I think, as we recall, we made a very long list, and below here are the key stakeholders we identified, which included Family Life Network, Life Ministry, Uganda Fathers Union, Mothers Union, the Scripture Union, Watoto Family Ministry, school owners, Compassion International, and I think that is DAI. I guess that's the right one, the abbreviation for DAI. So, but this is just an abbreviated list of what we have in terms of the huge list of stakeholders. And later on, among these stakeholders, of course, the question we have to ask ourselves, how far have we gone? Whom have we engaged with, or whom have we benefited from? Because we don't consider ourselves as the family mountain to be the expert in what we are trying to do. And when we were thinking of learning or engaging the stakeholders, there's already information that is available in the public, in surveys, or in the literature, which information can be used to triangulate or to make sure that some kind of understanding, because between what we have and what is elsewhere published. And that helped finalize the concept and putting an action plan and implementation grid in place. The implementation grid that we've been following a couple of months ago. So the information from the concept through the stakeholders and the groups that we had to contact helps us to design a form, a Google data collection form, that some of us used to collect the information that we presented in PowerPoint presentation a couple of months ago. But this table highlights some of the things that came out of the survey. And maybe to retract a little bit, the survey, as you recall, in the discussions, we did agree that we conduct key informant interviews, because we wanted information from the participants themselves, from their point of view, as opposed to collecting people in a group and have this discussed. So out of this survey, these were the list of challenges again, in addition to what had been summarized up there. It's a whole table of challenges and proposed solutions. So there were the financial issues that came up there, and the solutions highlighted how to tackle these financial issues and managing the trainings. Around financial issues come lots of things that support the family, including food and health care, which requires emergency assistance, as well as introducing livelihood initiatives into the families. And then the poor parenting, which was key, as you may have noted up there, came up, and this also created part of the implementation grid in terms of having parenting seminars, conferences, classes, and creating parenting groups. Lack of adequate or inadequate post-marital counseling, this one also came up, but we haven't tackled. But maybe not to go through the entire table, When we identified parenting as a key issue and poor parenting as one of the critical things that we needed to address, is what we picked out from the many responses and the many critical areas that came up for us to be able to address. But we went ahead and said, as we try to address our key issues and problems that came up as a result of parenting, we needed to come up with a table that would talk about what are these problems, what is the challenge, how do we address it, and who should be responsible for doing it. Responsibility in doing it would be, could we have a stakeholder, and who is the stakeholder? And in addition, could we have somebody from within the family mountain to be part of the lead within this area? And also when and what strategy we can be able to use. So that will come later on in the table for us to be able to see what issues we've been able to address and at what point in time these have been addressed. However, quickly, there are some of the findings that came out of the survey from the key informant interviews, mainly pointing to the challenges and causes of poor parenting. And we see from this pie chart that the biggest challenge or problem is absentee parents. And in terms of absentee parents, we have parents actually that are there within the family, but they are absent in a sense that their availability is taken up by a lot of work and a lot of other responsibilities. As we can see that absentee parents is due to busy job schedules, working away from home, parents having no time for children while they are there, working for long hours and having misplaced priorities. I think this is misplaced, not misplaced. Misplaced priorities and not taking parenting as a priority. So these are a few of the reasons of why parents are absent. But these point to exactly those parents that may be available, but they are taken up by other roles and responsibilities. But there are also parents that are not there at all. For example, single parents. They may be single mothers. They may be single fathers. And then the next one was the globalization. And in terms of globalization, we look at the new age movement, media influence, women emancipation, and children rights and activism. So that's within the globalization. But again, as we think through, these are a few of the issues that came up as a result of that. And we have lack of parenting training. Actually, I take it a little bit back. Globalization is 23%, and lack of parenting training is 26%, is the second. And lack of parenting training, no parenting manuals or resources. There's lack of knowledge on parenting, parents not mentored, parents not parented well. So parents have not had any exposure. I think that's what the information that was coming out. Any exposure in terms of handling parenting. And I think this really was one of the things which we said, okay, if there's lack of parenting training, what would really be the first thing to handle? And I think in our table that we will see many of the things that we fold through thereafter, we're looking at parenting and how can we improve parenting within our communities. Poverty and broken marriages came in with those kind of reasons as well. For example, for poverty, high cost of living, unemployment, financial and economic pressures. And then, of course, there are issues of separation, divorce, and single parents. However, there were recommended solutions. Recommended solutions, again, from the survey. Pastor Jairus, if you could scroll down a bit. So some of the recommended solutions we shared from within ourselves as a mountain, but also these came out very actively within the survey data that we collected. And the highest rated solution was the parenting seminars, conferences, which included having classes, teaching, maybe snowballing, reaching people within our neighborhood and communities, which also seemed to be a critical thing. And then that was followed by parenting campaigns, which also were so critical in a sense that if you combine the parenting campaigns together with parenting seminars, then there is a lot that can be achieved, because then you'll be creating awareness as well as sending out messages through various avenues, including media, radio, and other things. But again, there was also advocacy that had to be channeled through the government institutions, the schools, and of course having what materials we will have put together and then integrated into what is already available with these advocacy groups or stakeholders that are experts in parenting, or us also getting what experts are using and integrating it into what we do have, and then that probably is disseminated out in some form. So advocacy, much as it rated lower than the others, but it is a very critical thing to follow through. But there's also mentoring the youth, as we saw up, as well as improving family livelihood, which came up to be most prominent. And then from within the survey, there were districts that were most affected by some of these issues. And the most affected districts here, as you can see, Kampala ranked highest. And then, of course, we had Wakiso, Jinja, about the same. Then Mukono, Karamoja, closer together. But those, I guess, if we were to put numbers, could not differ very significantly from each other. But Kampala seems to be the highest. And I think this well informed us when we were saying, where should we start with the focus? And of course, starting in Kampala made a lot of sense. And in terms of the implementation plan or action, yes, the list was based on what ranked highest from the above results, but we focus on parenting seminars, conferences, classes as a starting point. Then we'll follow through with the campaigns or do them together. And then advocacy, mentoring the youth, as well as improving livelihood. I guess I'm just thinking about this now when we look at that plan. Some of these can be done together, as in the combined or in isolation independently. In terms of if we would pick on the first one, because this is what we agreed as a mountain to start with, parenting seminars, conferences, classes, and groups. Yes, we've been doing this virtually and on a weekly basis. And this is one of the meetings that has formed the way we've been doing it. And I remember there was an attempt to discuss meeting in person, but it was not possible given the different locations people would be. So it is virtual via Zoom, and it is every Thursday at this time, 6 to 7 a.m. So In handling these parenting seminars, conferences, and classes, the topics that were highlighted from the survey were developed into a tabular form, which is presented here. And each topic, we listed what kind of issues we need to address. And different people were approached as facilitators to be able to handle the different topics. We had a list of topics, some of which the proposed facilitators were unavailable, and then we kept interchanging and rearranging the schedule. One thing that did not get well implemented in this, maybe let me go back a little bit. So through these different topics, I think many of us have a clear understanding of what we presented before and who facilitated it. But I guess in the next meeting where we'll be discussing the mountain trek, my thinking, the team can guide, but my thinking is we could have like a list of the topics that were handled and who handled it, and probably as a way of trying to bring to an understanding for everyone, also to indicate the proposed output. And as I think the proposed output would be, okay, for those who attended, I mean, what kind of testimony from attending the presentations that we had was impactful? I mean, the impact of what we discussed in terms of the gap that we did identify. But this is for us to brainstorm and figure out how best that can be included to share with the rest of the teams. Majority of us on here have facilitated and moderated in these topics. But one thing that probably we did not be able to cover much, and I don't know how we can speak to this, is the different testimonies in each of the topical areas that we presented. Because the plan was we have this topic presented and discussed, and then at the same time, time permitting, we could have a testimony from either a parent, from a caretaker, from a friend about how this particular topical area has influenced and has impacted in terms of moving forward. We had, I think, including the testimonies, there were 13 kind of areas that we needed to focus on. But other than the areas of focus, the testimonies, I think we had 2 or 3 testimonies, meaning that all the other topics we needed to discuss, we discussed them, and also I think attempted to add another topic. And we were blessed, I think, at one of the presentations in the morning when we had Engineer Langa come to join us, and made a presentation to us, which was really very good and very interesting. And I think that's an achievement in terms of linking into the stakeholders, because as ED of the family network, he had the wealth of experience that he used to share with us. So, Pastor Jairus, is the table the last one, or there's something else? So in this document, the table is the last one, but I'm sure in our discussion and sharing of information with Alex, there may have been some other items that would have included into this in the PowerPoint, which would have been added, but I can see Alex joined. I think he has a network problem. He's joining as he leaves. But in summary, this is what we can be able, this is how far we've moved. There may be gaps in between in terms of some of the information we discussed and we were able to do that may not have been done. I mean, may not have been included in here. But what we will do is probably to hear from you, Alex, to hear from you so that Alex and Sister Agnes can be able to beef up the presentation that we are going to hold in 2 weeks from now. So I submit, unless if Alex, you joined when still speaking, and you can pick up. I know time is running, it's 13 minutes to the hour, but please, you're welcome. You're supposed to facilitate this, this meeting. Thank you, and I submit. Chair.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you so much. Let's call upon Alex, do you have anything to add on in this document before we can call in any other person to comment and input anything? Alex, please come up.
So the members, nothing much. Just need to hear from the members. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alex. As we have all heard about this, the set is about parenting as a family. But my comment is one, Alex and Fred, that maybe we should be included in the document. I don't see social media handles as a family mountain. Have been thought of a website like other mountains, so that we can put this document on, as much as we will have a Google Docs, Google surveys, we can still put this, and the fraternity can always help us in inputting some of the requirements. So I think we should think about a website. If it means funding it, we can also solicit money and fund our family mountain. Thank you. We will invite comments, input, so that we can be able to put up this document for the next presentation at the mountain trek. Thank you. Any comments, please come in.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think you're spot on at that point. And I remember in the discussion in the committee, I think we did talk about the synergy between other mountains and the family mountain. And during last Monday's meeting, I think it was also strongly highlighted that all mountains will work synergistically in terms of trying to inform each other. So that is critical that we highlight, and if we are able to develop or think through between now and then what kind of links between other mountains and the family mountain, it will be great, because then it would indicate that we can easily interact with the other mountains and the other mountains as well, because none of these really in isolation. One supports the other in terms of the way we're raising children in the family, but then we have to send them to school. They have to learn very good laws. They have really to learn so many life skills, which life skills they can also pick from other areas like the social media, the way you've identified it. Much as we tend to look at the social media negatively, but again, we will not do away with it. So we just have to think about how to work with it. And of course, I don't know, maybe we haven't attempted that some of the information that we've discussed or we've been discussing, we said we move it to the social media, to the media, like for example, the AKBF media, so that it becomes widely spread. So it can be a summary kind of leaflet highlighting some of the key issues we've identified and how we are approaching them. Just a suggestion. But Alex and the other colleagues can come in with additional input to respond to the chair's comment.
Mr. Chair, we have we've developed most of the sharings that we had. We put it on YouTube, and then we're able to send a link on the AKBF general. And I've noticed that quite a number of those had big views, especially Engineer Stephen Langa. The views, I think, went out beyond 300, if I remember very well. I have the statistics somewhere. So we've put it on YouTube, and we've been able to share both on our own Family Mountain, but also on the AKBF general, and people have been able to access that.
Thank you, Pastor Dara.
Chair, I think that's very good, Pastor Jairus. And may I make a suggestion, Chair, that if possible, what has been shared already on the YouTube, since Pastor Jairus, you have the stats, those can be shared with Alex so that it would be a way of looking at the impact of what we've shared in terms of how people are viewing it, because then it will help indicate to us and to the rest of the colleagues that will be attending that general meeting to know that, okay, there are these topics that were discussed and these are the views, meaning people are trying to view them and they are learning from them. I just suggest.
Thank you so much. Thank you, members. Thank you, Alex and Fred, for the presentation. It gives a good overview of what we've been doing. And maybe for the sake of those who are new or have just come on board, we have a mountain trek, and this is held every Monday, where every mountain is expected to share. Every mountain is expected to share what they are doing, what they have been doing, and what they intend to do. So we are sharing amongst on the entire AKBF family, and I would like to invite each one of us. Every Monday, we share the link in the family mountain WhatsApp platform. Please feel free to join such that we know what the other mountains are doing, what is happening on the other mountains, and then we see how we can participate in. And so I wanted the other members to know what is happening. So the purpose of this presentation of today is to help us. We are preparing for our own presentation. We shall be presenting one of the Mondays, most likely on 13th. We shall confirm the date, and this is what we intend to present. And so we call upon each one of us to add in, to make contribution to enrich our presentation, because we are saying this is what family is doing and this is what we intend to do. And like other earlier presenters have said, it's very important, since we are presenting to the other mountains, to show the link, the synergy. How are we working together, or how can we work together? And I think that needs to really come out clearly in our presentation. We have showed the list of stakeholders, of course, which is very good, and most of those stakeholders have participated with us in a way of moderating and providing the facilitators for our parenting seminar topics. That one needs to come out very clearly. Development Associates International, DIA, has played a very big role in partnering with the Family Mountain, especially by hosting our Zoom meetings and all that has been done. Now, for the other for the other mountains with education, how we have been working with them, or how we intend to continue working with the Family Education Mountain, is partnering with the schools through the AKBF Education Mountain. We can get to the schools and still get the parents and share with them about this parenting. Maybe we can pick key topics and share with the parents in schools, such that schools are an easy way. Like if we look at our document, that came out very clearly. Schools are an easy way of getting to the parents in a good number, because when a school calls on the parents, they'll come in big numbers, and we can reach them and share with them. Then also, what is the role of parents in the education of children? We can do this through the schools. And then with media, yes, we're having a YouTube which is a channel which is very good. Thank you so much, Pastor Jairus and Development Associates International, for facilitating us in that. But also, I just wanted us to be informed that AKBF has a media mountain platform where whatever we share, our announcements are usually shared there. And maybe we can just add on to increase our awareness and publicity, because that is one of the things we thought we would do. Whatever we are doing, we need to publicize it and create awareness. So that's how we can work with the Media Mountain. Then the governance, we are talking of advocacy, family-friendly laws and policies and regulations. So we need to work with the Governance Mountain to be able to achieve that. If we are to come up with laws which are friendly to the family, then we need to really work with the Governance Mountain. And yes, governance begins at home. And so we can still invite the Governance Mountain to see how to facilitate in our seminars, even the parenting seminars, to see how we can build a good governance system beginning from our families. Then with the Economy Mountain, remember one of the issues which we identified was poverty in the family. And then we said we needed to boost family incomes as one of the key issues that we identified in our survey. So we need the Economy Mountain to come in and help us there. Faith Mountain, definitely whatever we are doing, we need prayer cover. And also we need to work with the churches to be able to reach out to many people in terms of these parenting seminars and everything that we are planning. The church is a key stakeholder, so we shall need the Faith Mountain as well as we work with them. So what I'm saying is we still need to bring out how we have been working with these mountains and how we intend to continue working with them, because that is partly the purpose of our coming together with other mountains, such that we see how we can support each other in the different ways, how we can coordinate. Otherwise, it would seem like we are working in isolation. That is what I have for now. I just want to thank each one of you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Sanik. We are out of time now, 7 a.m. I think the most of the comments can go on our WhatsApp page so that we can continue with the conversation. And